marks day 3 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. And tonight, the nation will hear from Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Illinois Capitol Bureau Chief Max Cotton has more from day 3 of the DNC.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
After a hip-hop-filled DNC roll call Tuesday night, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul decided to stretch his musical legs Wednesday morning to contrast the land of Lincoln with its neighboring red states.
In Illinois, we're the land of Lincoln, but we're also the land of bodily autonomy. Surrounding states like Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, and Iowa, they are not like us.
From abortion rights to workers' rights. In his speech to Illinois Democrats, Raoul made the differences clear.
Laws on the books are only as good as they are enforced. And y'all better believe the Illinois Attorney General's office is enforcing these laws. We've had successful investigations throughout the state. We have returned overtime pay to workers. Right to work states, again, they are not like us.
Illinois House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch believes those contrasts, propelled by the work he and fellow lawmakers have done the past few years, are why the DNC is in Chicago.
The policies that we've passed on the statewide level, I think, is the reason why the Democratic National Convention is even here. Illinois, our legislature looks like America. Our state, our population looks like America. The policies we're passing is because of that diversity that we have in our state.
Or as Raoul would say about other states that were looking to host this year's DNC,
they not like us, they not like us, they not like us.
In Springfield, Max Cotton, WGEM News.